Okay everyone, so this is the final assignment for Year 10 Geography. So this task will require you to research two countries. One country needs to be more developed and the other country needs to be least developed. You're looking at how that development of that particular country impacts on human well-being. You'll be comparing the spatial differences in human well-being for those two countries. The spatial differences can include education, health, wealth, poverty, crime. There are, of course, other aspects of spatial differences that you could also talk about. What do you need to include in your report? It's quite straightforward. Within the introduction or somewhere within your report, you need to be able to introduce what your two countries are. And you need to say how they are least developed and more developed. So providing a little bit of background for each of those countries would be necessary here. So not just saying I'm doing Zimbabwe and Iran. You need to go in and provide a little bit more detail. Where are they located, for example? Within the main body, you need to actually include tables and statistics, figures, that shows the country's spatial differences. That also shows, okay, the development within those two countries. You need to analyze that data, okay? What is the data actually saying? Is there any conclusions that you can make based on what data has been presented? And that you've actually looked in a number of places for data that shows you those spatial differences in those particular countries. You might want to look at, okay, how the internal and external factors influence the well-being within those countries as well. Of course, they're going to be different depending on which countries you're looking at. We're looking at different countries. You're going to find that different things will impact on that particular countries and also their well-being. What strategies have been used? It's something else that you need to be talking about in here, in this particular assignment and this particular part of the task, is, okay, the strategies. Have they been successful? Have they been not successful? And why is that the case? And even if it is being successful, why has that been the case? So talking about, okay, strategies, how have they worked, haven't they worked? In the final part, you'll be looking at, okay, what is things that you found interesting? What are some of the key findings that you found within your research? And you may need to propose some possible actions that you think that should be taken to also improve well-being in a particular country. So your report must include the following information. It doesn't have to be in the same order, but you need to have it somewhere in your report. So you need to have a distinction between the well-developed or less developed and more developed country. You need to have a human development report for each country. Perhaps that can be presented in a table. You need to make sure you have other statistics. Consult a variety of places and get that information. You need to analyze the data and draw conclusions. Okay? You need to look at, okay, how that development has impacted on human well-being. You need to talk about, okay, what influences or what causes external and internal have actually impacted on spatial inequality. Talk about those strategies that have been used, but also talk about strategies that you would actually possibly implement. Moving down to presentation and appearance, to have a very a good report, you need to make sure that you have pictures and diagrams. Both would be better than just one or the other. Those diagrams could take form of a graph, for example. Make it look interesting. So you could actually make it look like a newspaper article or a magazine article. It could be a website. It's entirely up to you. You need to actually discuss, if you're going to do something that's different to what's actually written here, you need to discuss it with me. Word length, about 800 words. And it's due on the last day of term for you guys, last day of classes. So get it done, so I don't have to chase you. The final thing is the assessment criteria is attached there. I've sort of talked through what you should be including. If you've done what I've sort of talked about, you should be fine. You should actually have all the details you need. Make sure that you have consulted multiple different places and multiple different sites to get your information. Going to just one site isn't going to provide you enough information. What I would also suggest is possibly, when you have sort of done most of your research, get me to check it. See what you may have missed or what you may need to include. Get someone else to have a look and do the same thing. It's entirely up to you how you do this assignment. But, like I said, this is the assignment, this is your final assignment, and it is actually worth 25%. Good luck, get to it, whilst we're doing your other presentations.